CTV News with Matt Grillo.
Good evening. It was a major day in the world of soccer, the final of the World Cup between Spain and Argentina. The match taking place at New York, New Jersey Stadium in East Rutherford. This was a close-fought game with plenty of scoring opportunities. It was 0-0 and required extra time. In the 106th minute, Ferran Torres buried a bouncing ball to score a huge goal for Spain. Argentina would try to tie the match, but couldn't find the back of the net. Spain wins 1-0 and are now the World Cup champions, adding to their 2010 championship. Well, thousands of Montrealers gathered downtown to take in the game this afternoon. Denise Roberts was there.
Fans of Spain and Argentina wore their colors and hearts on their sleeves as two storied soccer nations went head-to-head in the final.
While there were viewing parties across the city, none were quite so big as at Place des Festivals.
And both sides had plenty of supporters.
Right now my heart is with Leo. It's like my first love.
Viva España! Yes!
But ultimately there could only be one winner. A thrill for the Spanish tourist in Montreal.
Even if I am from a super small town, Segovia, all of us, the whole community is living this one with a lot of passion and a lot of espíritu.
And tears for fans of Argentina and its star, Lionel Messi.
Of him, and I cannot believe it that he's going to not play another game with Argentina.
The joy and the pain are part of what makes this game special, says this man who was supporting both teams.
In our countries, South America, Europe, Africa, we love soccer, you know. It's like more than sport, you know. For people, a lot of emotion. It's not like only game.
And now that the World Cup is over, there are plenty of moments to remember.
I would give like a big 9 out of 10. It was a great tournament this year. I really liked it. It's really good competition, a lot of people, good talent.
A 10 out of 10. It was a good one. It's been awesome. It has given us so much fun and joy and the sense of belonging.
Bringing so many nations together for the love of the game. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
Quebec has about 150 active forest fires. Most are in the western part of the province. SUPFR, the province's forest fire agency, says there have been 5 times as many brush fires as usual in the northern region since the start of this season. Alongside Quebec firefighters, others from New Brunswick, Alberta, British Columbia, and Prince Edward Island are helping. 43 firefighters from France joined the effort Saturday, and 18 American firefighters arrived Friday. SUPFR says recent rains have helped, but they expect hot and sunny weather this week to fuel more fires.
Right now, the return of clear weather with the beginning of the week, again combined with some strong winds in some areas, will probably increase the fire activity for the active fires, and we hope that it won't cause any other new fires, of course.
The visiting firefighters are helping to relieve some of the 1,000 SUPFR staff members who have been working to put out the fires for weeks. It's been 30 years since flash flooding in Saguenay killed 10 people and destroyed hundreds of homes. It was a disaster on a scale never seen before in Quebec, and its impact is still being felt. Matt Gilmore reports.
It was one of Canada's worst ever flooding disasters. Millions of tons of water ripped through Saguenay at over 30 kilometers an hour. Homes weren't just flooded, they were destroyed. As their possessions and memories poured into the torrent, 16,000 residents were forced to flee. Many helicoptered to higher ground. 10 people were killed, including 2 children.
And obviously we have a real disaster on our hand here.
Close to 300 millimeters of rain fell in just 36 hours. Water spilled over the dam, sending an enormous wave of water, earth, and debris spilling into the Saguenay Fjord. When the flooding finally ended, the true scope of the disaster was laid bare. Entire neighborhoods washed away.
Le secteur Grande Baie n'existe plus.
Michael Lalancette was just 10 years old at the time. He remembers being rushed out of his family's home in the middle of the night and learning later the house had been swept away.
Ma mère, elle, c'était le choc de la réalité, là. Les souvenirs, le cocon familial, etc., les racines familiales.
Everything was lost. It was Canada's first ever billion-dollar natural disaster. 30 years later, there's still evidence of the flood. A solitary house that survived has been converted into a museum, symbolizing the town's resilience. But as memories of the disaster fade, the brother of the two children killed is determined to keep their memories alive.
Mathieu, Andrea.
To mark the anniversary, Jason Paquette-Garceau has written a book about the floods and the 30 years of heartache that have followed.
Que la mort de mon frère et ma sœur soit pas arrivée pour rien.
So his brother and sister didn't die for nothing. A lot has changed since the flood. City officials say they're much better prepared to prevent a disaster like this from ever happening again. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
The Sûreté du Québec is searching for a man in his 20s who went missing while swimming at Oka Beach this afternoon. Police say a man and a woman were swimming in a deeper section of the water and found themselves in distress. The man went missing and never returned to the surface. SQ, Montreal Police, firefighters, and SAPAC park officials conducted searches this afternoon and into the evening. A group of students held a protest today outside the Collège Supérieur de Montréal. They were protesting the private school's closure after the Quebec government did not renew its permit. The Collège Supérieur is among 4 private colleges in the province that saw their permit suspended in recent weeks. The immigration status of many international students is now in jeopardy, and some students say they were about to graduate and are now unable to finish their studies.
I just had my start to finish, and I just had one exam to finish, and so I'm supposed now to be in stage. Find a stage, it's really stressful. I did a lot of work to find a stage. So for all my friends here to find a stage in hospital, this clinic, this so really stressful, and just I think just everything we did is like just going for nothing.
The Quebec Education Ministry did not provide details on why it did not renew the permits. Well, animal shelters across Montreal are still feeling the pressure of moving season. Some are now turning to free adoptions to help make room for the next wave of arrivals. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil reports.
For many people walking through Pro Anima's doors this weekend, it's the start of a new chapter.
I'm looking for a brother for my current kitten that's 8 months old.
Despite the many eager would-be pet owners at this animal shelter, Pro Anima's Annie Kirouac says the need is growing fast, especially with moving season. They are now taking in about 24 cats a day at their Montreal location.
It's at least twice the amount of animals that we take in from the winter.
The shelter was caring for nearly 200 animals Friday, inching closer to its capacity of 250. Kirouac says the priority is making sure the shelter can handle emergencies. She compares it to a hospital where the most urgent cases need care first.
That might mean that someone with a broken arm who's not going to die from it might have to wait a little bit longer. But if we have to deal with a whole bunch of heart attacks, we want to make sure we have that capacity to look after them.
To free up cages, Pro Anima waived adoption fees from June 20th until today. The animals still come vaccinated, spayed or neutered, and microchipped. The response has been strong, even setting a new record Saturday with 35 cats adopted in a single day. Sunday was also busy.
I adopt like 2 cats. If I can, it's going to be like slightly more.
But for every animal that leaves, another seems to arrive. The Montreal SPCA says it's seeing a similar trend. Daily intakes have jumped from about 20 animals to more than 30 a day in recent weeks. For many adopters, that makes the decision easy.
When there were cats that were like abandoned or like that their owner died or something. So like I kind of felt like sympathy for those cats. I don't want to buy from a breeder. I want to rescue one.
Can't commit to adopting? Fostering is another way to help. This foster parent says there's a lot of pride in knowing you can make a difference. It's why she took in this abandoned kitten when it was just a few days old.
Pour moi, un refuge, c'est communautaire.
Shelters can't handle this alone. It takes a whole community, so I do my part, she says. For shelters, the peak of moving season isn't over yet. But for every cage that empties, there's a chance an animal has found its way home. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil, CTV News.
A West Island group that helps the homeless has purchased the building that houses the Ricochet Center in Pierrefonds. The purchase was made possible by a $20 million loan with the support of the Quebec government. Ricochet currently includes a homeless shelter, but the plan is to turn some of that space into temporary housing. Located in a former monastery, the center will now include 48 emergency beds in its shelter and 60 units of affordable housing.
It's the perfect place for recovery with the nature all around, the trees, the water. It's we're providing people with dignity and safety.
Renovations on the second floor of the building will soon begin to create those affordable housing units. Quebecers enjoying the traditional two-week holiday period may experience a little frustration at the gas pump. In some areas of Montreal, the price of regular gas is hovering around $1.95 a liter. Prices are expected to climb even more. The latest developments in the U.S.-Iran war are pushing up prices again.
I am the retired man, so it's almost $2 a liter. So usually I'm tanking the full tank. Now I'm just buying 15 liter because if my pension is not too high.
Well, they've been high for a while now, so kind of get used to it and do what you can to minimize your driving.
Quebec's Energy Board has an interactive map showing prices in your area at regieessencequebec.ca. Just ahead, how do you protect your skin while enjoying the beautiful summer weather? We speak with the director of the Melanoma Clinic at the MUHC. Summer is in full swing and construction holiday has started. That means a lot of people and families are spending time outside enjoying the weather. But how do you properly protect your skin? Joining us now is Beatrice Wong, the director of the Melanoma Clinic at the MUHC. Hi, Beatrice.
Hi, thanks for having me today.
Thanks for joining us. So tell us, what type of SPF should people be looking at when they purchase sunscreen?
It really depends on what you're going to be using your sunscreen for. As you said, it's construction holidays, so people are out pretty much all day or much longer than they're used to. So they should be looking for higher SPF, sort of along the lines of SPF 50 and 60. But those are not the only numbers that you have to look at, because that only tells you how you're going to be protected against UVB. A very important component is UVA. So what you have to look for are sunscreens that say that they are broad spectrum, that they're going to cover both UVA and UVB. And in fact, a lot of the times now we're recommending that people use mineral sunscreens or sunscreens that have a component of zinc oxide and or titanium dioxide to make sure that they're being covered throughout the whole spectrum.
I see people spraying on the sunscreen, some people using the lotion. Does it make a difference?
It really does make a difference. When the SPF guidelines were established, they used a very specific thickness of sunscreen to get that SPF factor. With a spray, you have no idea how much you're putting on. Yes, it's a lot more convenient. Yes, it's a lot more sticky. But what we dermatologists like to recommend is that you put on that first layer at least of a cream or a lotion, and then if you want to top up, you can use the spray. But ideally, we prefer the creams or lotions, but yes, people who are hairier don't like the lotions. They feel they're too sticky. Sometimes it's hard to catch the kids when they're running around, so sprays are better than nothing.
Now, for people going swimming in the pool, at the beach, does that impact the protection? Should they be reapplying when they get out of the water?
Absolutely, it does get washed off. So for a lot of people who are worried about all of their sunscreen coming off in the pool or really don't feel like reapplying, that's where we talk about using physical protection like clothing. So a lot of the rash guards like that surfers wear with the high necks and the long sleeves, they're perfect. Kids these days are wearing the longer shorts and those are also great too.
What about those who don't like the feeling of sunscreen on their skin? We see some people opting to sit in the shade. Is that an alternative? Would it protect people as much? What do you think about that?
It really depends on what type of shade you're sitting under. The wind blows the leaves around, and so it's intermittent, the SPF that you get. If it's pitch black, like you're in the middle of a forest, yes, that's a total SPF, that's a total block. But most of the time you can see what you're doing, you can feel the heat. I would say that, it's not enough. You're going to have to wear either clothing or some sunscreen, not just depend on a tree or an umbrella alone.
And just very quickly to finish off here, if people are concerned about a mole on their skin, what should they do? Where should they go?
So it's a difficult question here in Quebec now, but the first place you should go to is your family doctor or your clinic that you were assigned to. You can have a medical health care professional look at it first, and if they deem it necessary, then they will refer you along to a dermatologist.
Beatrice Wong with the Melanoma Clinic at the MUHC. Thanks for doing this today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
In case you missed it, this year will be the 25th anniversary of the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center. And to mark that, a Quebec man will run 911 kilometers to help first responders. Christine Long has his story.
Louis Marois has been running the woods of Oka Park for decades.
I grew up here in the park.
He's a paramedic in the area and also travels the world running trails as an ultra-marathoner.
I like running. It's inside me.
Marois knows the benefits of exercise when it comes to job-related stress.
Doivent comprendre qu'il y a un humain.
He says every first responder is a human being who gets exposed to trauma. In 2018, Marois had to step back from the line of duty and turn to La Vigile, a non-profit resource center for all Quebec first responders.
Épuisement professionnel, les gens qui vont vivre avec des symptômes de dépression.
Geneviève Arguin says clients learn to deal with burnout, depression, or post-traumatic stress. La Vigile helped Marois get back to work and back on his feet. He's training hard to run 911 kilometers starting on September 11th.
It's a warrior, but you have the psychology behind the Spartan.
The Spartans are his inspiration for the Défi 911, and he's collecting donations for La Vigile so younger professionals can also have access to care. His target of $25,000 will go far to help others. He says first responders go into a situation that everyone else wants to get away from.
C'est une image qui est gravée dans la mémoire de tous.
Arguin adds that September 11th is an image engraved into her clients' minds. Marois is inviting other runners to join him for as many kilometers as they want until he finishes his own 911. Christine Long, CTV News.
For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
Now for a look at your forecast. It's a comfortable 20 degrees in Montreal right now. A bit cooler though in the eastern townships. 14 in Sherbrooke, 15 degrees in Quebec City. We're going to see similar weather tomorrow. A mix of sun and clouds throughout the day with a high of 26 degrees by the afternoon. We will see some rain though this week. You'll need your rain jacket. Showers are expected on Tuesday and Wednesday, but the sun comes back out to close out the work week on Thursday and Friday. And that's it for us. For more news, you can always head to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Have a great night and a wonderful start to your week.